on our.
I have it.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Dr. Nelson, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
We're live on YouTube, Facebook, on Instagram, on a Kiltz Mighty Tribe. Dr. Nelson
headphone
is having technical difficulties. We got Miss Aimee Perrin, Brisket Boomer Skier, to talk about everything carnivore for type 1 diabetic and beyond, not just that. Aimee, good morning. Good morning. How are you today?
Morning. I'm great, but my blood sugar is climbing because I'm nervous. So right here on camera, I'm going to take a little bit of insulin.
What was your blood sugar?
122.
And we got Nate here today. Good morning, Nate.
Good morning, everyone. How are we?
Awesome. We're on Kiltz Mighty Tribe Live. We're on Dr. Kiltz Instagram Live. And we got Melbourne Renee's here. Helen's here. Shweta's here. Candy Hart is here. We got Melbourne's. We're going to be in Melbourne, Australia in 2 weeks-ish. Something like that. We got, we have here stopping in. All right. We got Target Prime Rim, Tasty, #Tasty again today. Sandy Seyfried, awesome. Sandy, Ontario. Sandy Blythe, good morning. Awesome. #Tasty. Jerry Graham. Again, Jerry, thank you for being here. We got Thomas, Target Prime Rib. Looking forward to it every day. Good morning from Dr. Nelson. We can hear you, Dr. Nelson.
I can hear.
All right.
Oh, yay.
Yay. Let's see. Thank God. Is it Friday? And we're traveling to Yuma, Tennessee today for the Mighty Meetup on Sunday, 2 to 7 in Yuma, Tennessee with the wonderful, amazing Dr. Ken Berry. Is going to be there. Lisa Wiedemann. We got Carrie Mann, Adam Lacey. We got Emma, one of the triplets. Let's see. We got Nate's there. Dr. Nelson's there. I know we got some others there I'm missing. You have that, Nate, by chance?
Dante.
Yuma, Dante Frigno.
And Carnivore coach Lisa Picard.
Lisa Picard's going to be there too. Awesome.
Lisa, yeah.
Awesome. Alex Hormozy. Don't know Alex Hormozy. Do I know Alex Hormozy? Let's see. We got Brian. We got Kate. We got Steve Rogers, Captain America 56. Awesome. All right. Terry, if you put in #Tasty, TSTEE, you are going to be in the mix to win the new Tasty air fryer. And we're going to do 2 of those today. Is that right, Nate? Dr. Nelson?
2 of those today. That is correct.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna give it a go without Alia. We're gonna get after it.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I have it. We'll see. If there are technical difficulties, you can blame me.
Yep, that's all right. I get blamed at home too. Jerry Graham. We're taking questions. We got Alia Quintero is here on Kiltz Mighty Tribe. Morissette, Megan, Carrie Klein, Pat Bouchon, David B. We appreciate everyone plugging in and just saying hi. Let's see what we got totals here. We got Morissette, Megan, David B., Carrie Klein, Alia. We got Michelle Uggs, Ugas, Katie McPike, Ann Rippish, and Marian Marias, to name just a few people on Kiltz Mighty Tribe. And you have to come over to YouTube, Facebook, and do we have X in there yet, Nate?
I don't think so.
All right, not quite yet.
Not yet. Aimee, we're gonna have that hopefully square away.
Aimee, how did you get your insulin stuff?
Yeah, I'm all set.
Right. All right. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Aimee. How long you been a type 1 diabetic, and when did you go carnivore, and how you doing?
Okay, so I've tried to get this very long story down so I don't take too much time.
We're here
But
for you. We love it.
when you've been alive for 70 plus years, your story takes a little long to tell. But so I was a sickly child. Then I took acne medication when I was 15 for acne, tetracycline, a very powerful antibiotic. And a year later, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. That was way back in 1971. So I've been a type 1 diabetic for 54 years. After I'd had type 1 for 25 years, I was very sick. But none of my symptoms were on a complication list because mine were all in my skeletal system. My eyes were fine, my kidneys were fine, my heart was fine, but I had frozen shoulders and frozen hips, and I was very fatigued and depressed. And that's the year. So I was 42. 1996, I found Dr. Richard Bernstein and the very low carb. So that helped a lot. And I got to where I felt great, and my blood sugars were really good, and my A1C was really good. But back in when I first started studying nutrition, right after I graduated from college, I started studying nutrition. Became convinced that you could heal anything. And why can't you heal type 1 diabetes, even though everybody says you can't? So I started working to heal at the same time as trying to work on my blood sugars. So I was on the Bernstein diet for 7 years. I did really well. But then I heard about a kid diagnosed with type 1, and his mother put him on raw vegan, and he didn't have to go on insulin. So that sent me down the raw vegan path, which I did for 7 years until my health started deteriorating. And at that time, decided to do the ketogenic diet, even though at that time it was 2010, and I found the Zeroing In on Health Facebook group. Well, it wasn't a Facebook group yet, it was a forum. And I read all about the carnivores and thought it was interesting, but it was just too big of a step for me to take. So I went keto for 8 years. And then in 2018, we started hearing about the carnivore diet. And it was 2018, there were 3 videos about carnivore that we could find. My husband and I were traveling. He was a painter, and he was teaching workshops all over the country. So we were traveling. So we were in the car. What do? You listen to YouTube videos. We found Sean Baker's Joe Rogan interview. Then we found Jordan Peterson on Joe Rogan and Michaela Peterson on Joe Rogan. That was it. There wasn't anything. The only other video at the time about carnivore was a negative. So anyway, we went carnivore, and I've been carnivore ever since. I do constant experiments. So I don't follow the same exact plan, but I've done beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. Right now I'm doing lion diet. And through my experiments, I have found that the lion diet, eating moderate protein, very high fat, and 3 meals a day or less, I'm able to keep my insulin requirements down very, very low. So that works for me. I'm still trying to heal, but I'm also still just trying to be a really good type 1 diabetic and be a good example. So I have my YouTube channel, Brisket Boomers, where I talk about diabetes a lot. But actually, I started that channel to help people who are boomers, who are my age, who are afraid to do anything their doctor doesn't recommend. That's why I started the channel, because I had friends who were like, they were afraid of the carnivore diet. And they had ailments that I knew carnivore would help. So that's why I ended up starting that channel. But I'm very active on Instagram, and I also do group coaching. And that's basically my story.
And that was a good summary. It didn't take that long.
10 minutes.
Uh, I I have been acquainted with type 1 diabetes since childhood, basically, because I have a family member with, I have a couple of family members now with type 1 diabetes, but I know the struggle. So you finally have settled on this lifestyle for the past several years, and you touched on this, but I want you to emphasize, because it's very important. And I taking care of diabetics as a physician, they are very difficult to control. Some, it has to do because of their willingness to do the right thing, but even when you try, it's very difficult to keep under control. And the advice has been for years from the physicians and providers, just eat whatever you're gonna eat, just cover, right, with
Right.
the right amount of insulin, and you become an expert at looking at food and having a good idea before even testing sometimes how it's gonna affect you. But how different is it eating the standard atrocious diet? I mean, American diet, right? And eating this carnivore lifestyle. How difficult is it for you to manage your blood sugar? Difficult or easier, whatever word you want to use.
Um, Actually, the easiest for me was the very low carb Dr. Bernstein diet was the easiest.
Okay.
The most effective has been carnivore. Um, so it's really, really, even on a zero carb diet, it's extremely challenging to match insulin to food or activity. It's not easy. Insulin is a very, very powerful, what do we call it? Liquid.
Hormone enzyme.
Oh, yeah, it's very powerful. So I take like half a unit, tiny little bit, and it's too much. And if I eat just a little bit too much brisket, my blood sugars can go up into the 200s. So it's very challenging. And it's been so long since I've been on the standard American diet. I mean, that's how I started out. But as soon as they handed me the diet that they wanted me to be on, I was 16 years old. I looked at the diet and it said 2,000 calories, 6 bread exchanges. And I looked at that and I'm like, they're crazy. I'm not going to eat 6 pieces of bread a day. I would be fat. So I knew right away that the medical system knew nothing about a healthy diet. So I wasn't fooled by what they tell people now. They tell people basically the same thing, that you have to eat carbs because you're on insulin. And it's just not true. And it's very dangerous. And the thing I like about Bernstein is the law of small numbers. Now, this law is you eat a very small amount of carbs. His is 30 grams a day. You eat a small amount of carbs. You only need a small amount of insulin, and you have small ups and downs, and it works. But I have found for the rest of my body and the ease of a diet, carnivore is just the best. And I've cleared up things. When I was on keto, I was only on about 20 grams of carbs, or maybe even 10 towards the end. I was eating meat, eggs, butter, and fermented vegetables towards the end. But I still had things that cleared up when I went carnivore that were important to me. My floaters in my eyes went away, and the pain when I flew in airplanes went away. So that's a big deal. And I just feel better. So to me, carnivore is worth it. It's a little challenging. Some people do really well. I think that a lot of type 1 diabetics still produce a tiny bit of insulin. So we're all just a little bit different. And it's interesting because in my coaching, I coach in a group of type 1s and type 2s. And we work together because what we really want is excellent health and insulin sensitivity. So we want the same things, even though it's two completely different diseases. Did I answer your question?
Aimee, may I, Dr. Nelson, and may I make a comment? So my sister Mary Ann had diabetes type 1 since age 4, standard American diet, but as recommended by the American Diabetic Association, actually. She was very, very strict and diligent. My mother was with her. She took her insulin, all these things. She lost eyesight, lost limbs, parts, lost organs, and eventually died at 52 of heart failure. And I think what you're doing, Aimee, is a game changer, because the real health and healing is from a community of keto and carnivore. Would you agree that this is such an important place for people to be?
Yes, so I listen to carnivore testimonials all day long because I want to stay inspired. And there's so many different things that people have healed on carnivore that it's like the diet. I just really think that it's the best diet for everybody. And it's amazing. Um, I still am aware of something getting better every day, even after over 6.5 years on carnivore. And it's the most healing diet for sure. Yes.
What inspires you? Someone just made a comment about my sister, and I appreciate that. Mary Ann, my sister, is alive and strong in my life. And I think it's important for us to think about the people who have passed before us and gone through the struggles, that they inspire us to share the stories that we can heal our brothers and sisters in amazing ways. What really is your inspiration? Where's it come from?
I don't know. I think I'm really stubborn. I get an idea in my head that I think I can heal, and I'm just like, and I just want to be the best I can be. I'm not sure exactly why. And I don't understand why other people don't have it, which is interesting. I can talk till I'm blue in the face to somebody about the carnivore diet, and they're just not interested. But to me, it's like it just answers so much for me that I just so when I was first diagnosed, my best friend growing up, June, she had a sister who was a type 1 diabetic, who was a few years older than us. And her body was swollen because of kidney damage. She didn't always take care of herself. She would forget to take her insulin. She ate lots of carbs, and she was in and out of the hospital with huge sores on her body. And so I knew what type 1 diabetes could do to you. But then there was also a woman at church who was a type 1 diabetic, and she had 4 kids, and she was beautiful and graceful, and her kids were beautiful, and she took really good care of herself. So when I was diagnosed, I wasn't afraid, but I knew it was my choice. I knew it was up to me. And my parents never even learned how to give a shot. It was up to me from day one. And
Wow.
I just I'm not sure why I stay inspired, but I do. And I'm glad. I'm glad because now I'm 70, I'm healthy, I exercise every day, I walk 10 miles every day, I research, I have my group, I'm happy. And my husband died 3.5 years ago of colon cancer. And at the time, we had both probably believed that I would go first because, I have type 1 diabetes. And he was a very healthy person, um, who was always in shape. He exercised. He ate like I ate. He ate very low carb. His A1C was good. Um, but you just never know what's going to hit you. He had bowel issues for years, but never really addressed them. And once he was diagnosed, it was too late.
Uh, I think that's our challenge in science and medicine is we don't have any great predictors of disease or death. And my best friend from medical school, Dave, died of lymphoma at 52, healthy guy. And I think we're not sure, we with all what we're doing means we're going to live longer, but certainly I've seen so many diseases reduce and or be eliminated on this way of living. What's your thoughts on lion versus carnivore? Uh, do you have a preference, and do you think one's healthier than the other?
Well, I know that on regular carnivore, like beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, um, there might be a little bit more enjoyment. Um, Eating bacon is amazing, but I tend to overeat it because I think it sets up cravings. The lion diet, the simple answer is I can take less insulin on the lion diet. On the lion diet, I don't even need overnight insulin, which is weird. And I don't even understand why. But, on the lion diet, I'm down to somewhere between 8 and 10 units of insulin. And on the carnivore diet, I'm up to about 12 to 15 units. So I don't know if that means it's better. Some of my group members are doing the lion diet and have had really great results too. And a friend of mine is a type 2 diabetic and she started the lion diet. Now she's able to sleep through the night. Her legs aren't swollen anymore. She's having great results and she feels a lot better and she's not craving other foods. So
Would
it's hard to answer. I think that when we're carnivores, it's like our job to figure out which way is going to work best for us because we're all individuals.
what is the addition? Is it the milk products, the difference on the carnivore for you? What maybe just give a quick difference between the lion and the carnivore.
Right. So lion diet is just ruminant meats only. So because uh, I mostly eat beef or beef and lamb and nothing else, but a high fat form of just beef, salt, and water. And then carnivore, I don't do a lot of cheese because cheese for many type 1 diabetics, it's a problem. But I did butter, um, beef, pork, but mostly beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, and that's the difference. And I think that eggs can have things in them that you can be sensitive to without being allergic to it. Because I'm not allergic to eggs, but when I take them out, I don't need as much insulin. I'm not allergic to butter, but when I take it out, I need less insulin. So there's a sensitivity going. Same with bacon. Bacon can have can cause sensitivities because of what they feed the hogs or what's in the bacon.
Well, butter, eggs contain more proteins, and proteins require insulin. Fat does not require insulin, and so, and then, I mean, those are, and then, are you focusing more fatty meat when you're doing lions and versus carnivore?
Well, I've always been high fat carnivore. I've never done it any other way. But yes, on lion, I eat a lot of beef fat trim, and my protein is moderate, not high. I mean, I want to get enough protein so that I'm healthy and strong, but I don't overeat it because it would be hard to match the insulin to the protein, because protein will raise my blood sugar. Yes, if I
See,
eat a
I
lot at
think
one time.
it's the focus on fat that's actually the most healthiest thing for all of us. The job of insulin is to make fat out of proteins and sugars in the liver. And so if you really keep a simple concept, science is a theoretical, complicated story. But if you just come back to a simple story here, you must take insulin, you must have insulin in order to make fat. And I think the focus on protein is actually incorrect, because when you eat fat, it comes with the right amount of proteins, sugars, fats, minerals, and vitamins. And so I'm just wondering if you've ever just done raw fat, not butter, not
No, I
butter,
know,
not cream.
I know. I have not had the nerve to yet. I have thought about it. I've thought about the experiment. I've thought about eating 100% fat. And I've thought about eating 100% raw, but it grosses me out and I haven't been able to do it. So I don't know.
Would
But
you?
I've also thought about fasting. Like, how long could I fast to get my insulin down? But the thing about fasting is it's a stress on the body. Yes, it's really good. I have done it before, but only 3 days. Well, 3.5 days, like 84 hours. Um, I need less insulin, but as soon as I start eating food again, blood sugars go up and insulin requirements go up.
Well, because insulin is actually a digestive enzyme. Insulin's job is not to regulate blood sugar, it's to convert the digestive foods of amino acids and sugars to fat in the liver. And if that's the simple answer, it all makes more sense, because sugar is a water soluble molecule. That means it goes through every single membrane without any work. And we kind of made insulin. I think we've made a science of making a lot of money on it. And in fact, maybe there's something more simplistic to this. When you eliminated, would you say that plants are likely the toxic substance that causes diabetes type 1 and type 2?
Yes. I have a theory that if we could go 5 generations with no sugar, no grains, you'd get rid of type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes did not show up until the Egyptians, and they were the first ones to eat lots of grains. So basically, I think it's grain caused.
I say it's plant caused because if you look at the goitrogens, there are non-grains in there too, which we know damage the thyroid gland.
Yeah.
And so that means why would it damage the thyroid gland and not the pancreas or the liver or the brain or your
Right.
eyes or your skin?
Right.
So
It's damaging.
And so in fact, plants are the predators and we're the prey.
What are you holding up?
The secret life.
Secret life of plants.
In fact, they control the world because they are the glycocalyx and the glycobiome of the earth. They're the stabilizers, they're the transmitters, they're the receivers, they're the energy of vibration. And without sugar, we're all dead. Sugar is the most critical component of the human body because it builds the glycocalyx, which is kind of weird, isn't it?
Well, it is weird, but you would have a hard time convincing type 1 diabetics that the job of insulin is not to manage sugar because our blood sugar goes up and we take insulin and it comes down.
Right.
So,
but here's the story, right? So remember, that's the story the science has taught us. And the science is controlled by the people control the money. Remember, sugars are so important to eat, carbohydrates. But in fact, that's the science that was created, just like tobacco and drugs, alcohol. So ultimately, hepatogenous diabetes, when your liver is severely damaged, you can take all the insulin you want. You will not make fat. And that's why cirrhotics die. And they have to have a liver transplant. There's no drug to fix a cirrhotic. A pancreas could be also get a new pancreas, but it is interesting that you can fast no food for a month and take no insulin.
I've never gotten it down to 0, and I don't think you could because your body is still producing sugar.
No,
Like I don't need insulin overnight, and I don't really understand why.
not
But
fasting overnight. I'm talking no food for a month.
I understand that, and I'm willing to try that experiment, but I don't think it's not just food. It's not just food. I can fast and I still need a background insulin. A lot less, but I still need a background insulin because my liver is pumping out glucose just like everybody else.
Well, what's the longest you fasted?
84 hours.
Okay. So how long does it take for all the food in your gut to be gone?
I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out an idea that because remember, almost everyone eats at least one meal a day, and the majority of people eat 3 to 6 times a day. And if you go without food, see the type 1 diabetic ketoacidosis, 99.999% of people are eating all the time. And that means they're eating plants and proteins and their sugars are going up because they have no insulin and they're getting skinny. And a cirrhotic also eats, but still insulin is there and and sugars are there, yet their blood sugars go up. So again, real fasting is no food in the intestines. And that's the key that we're not thinking about, because every cell of your body, my body, every cell of every organism contains sugars. It doesn't need to make sugars. It has sugars. And those sugars come from every cell of your body, but the majority of the sugars come from your fat and LDL and VLDL. And so the glycocalyx and the glycobiome is still the area that nobody's talking about in the diabetic world. And so I'm just throwing an idea that what if the standard science, remember, standard medicine and science laughs at us, don't they?
Yeah, definitely.
Then we should not laugh at these new and different ideas. We should be open to maybe, because that's what I've learned in medicine and doctors. We're all so close-minded. We doctors are close-minded.
Well,
And what we want to do is blow up the idea that maybe the science of insulin and glucose is wrong.
yeah,
Maybe,
but you can't fast forever.
well, of course not. But bears fast for 6 months, or many
Yeah, but
organizations.
we're not bears. Bears also have a tremendous amount of fat on their bodies, like huge.
Do
I
humans?
don't. I
Do
don't
humans?
have much fat on my body.
No. But most humans do.
Well,
And the
true.
reason,
Most humans do a lot. Well, I don't know about most, but yes, a lot of humans do. But if you've,
what's the percent of obesity in the world, in America?
I think it's 70%. But
So most Americans are obese. I'm just going simple here. Just go with this a second, okay? So physiologically, we are used to famines. We're used to migration. My bet is we're used to even hibernation like gestation nesting. And again, in a modern world of fake, remember, agriculture is invented by humanity. It's not normal. It's not normal to have 3 to 6 meals a day. It might not even be normal to have a meal a day. And the majority of what we ate was, I mean, we needed to get fat, but we didn't get obese because there wasn't enough food. And one of the most important things is that if we think differently of the science, we might be able to better explain hyperphagia. I mean, when we eat carbs, and maybe Dr. Nelson could talk about this, is it easy not to eat a carbohydrate in general?
When you're feeling,
No, is it just easy for anyone not to eat a carbohydrate? When we taste something sweet, is it easy to walk away from it?
no, we like it and we want more usually.
Is that because we're pathologically diseased, broken, or is that a normal physiologic response to want to consume a high carbohydrate
No,
diet?
it's probably a normal response because we got to prepare for the famine, the winter, and all that. Fortunately, or unfortunately, nowadays, we don't have to go. We are not forced to go sometimes days without eating, right? Nobody does. And by the way, some estimates are that some people eat 15 to 17 times a day, because every time you snack on something, you're basically eating. So I don't think it's supposed to be like that.
Polar bears, they don't hibernate unless they nest the female when they're pregnant, but they must get fat because there is very little food for them when the ice is gone. And so they are ravenous and going after that food to get fat so they could survive without food. And I think that's our nature. We're no different. We're omnivores. And we're not meant to eat plants all the time because, I mean, they're poisonous. Are there questions in this for Aimee? And comments?
There are several comments, but we're past the half hour. We need to give away our number one tasty
All right.
air fryer. So let me set this up. And we're doing
Questions for Aimee. If you guys got them, throw it out there. If you're on Instagram or Kiltz Mighty Tribe, just put QQQ and I'll make sure I direct it to Aimee on YouTube, Facebook. What day fast are you on, Doctor?
today, day number 5. Last meal was Sunday.
Awesome.
I'm still going.
What's your energy?
It's pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So
The first
is
one
it showing? Oh, okay.
is this? Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna go.
All right. And you can't win it twice. Sorry. And it can't be the docs. It could be Aimee, though.
Tommy Tucker.
Right, Tommy.
Congratulations.
So Alia at drkiltz.com. Is that right? You got to send
Yes.
it.
That's right,
Alia
that's
at drkiltz.com. That is correct.
Awesome. What about exercise, Aimee? What's your exercise routine? You said 10 miles a day?
Yep, I'm walking 10 miles a day. Some of it outside, some of it on a walking pad inside. I also do right now, I really like body weight exercises. So I do this 12 for 12 that I learned from Mike Chang. And it's just functional exercises like push-ups and sit-ups and V-ups and squats and different things like that. And it takes about 6 to 10 minutes a day. I do that every morning.
And
And
how are your blood sugars when you do exercise, or maybe on a day that you didn't do it as much?
I'd have to take more insulin on a day that I don't walk as much. Like if a couple of weeks ago, I went to my grandson's performance. They were in Mary Poppins, and so I sat in a theater and I sat in a car, and so I didn't get as many miles. So I had to take a couple of units more insulin. But the thing about walking is it's not just for the day. It kind of carries over. So I might have to take a little bit more, but not that much more. So
Now, I know you're standing up here today.
yes.
What's the value of doing the stand-up work here?
I don't know. I'm always trying something different. I put a wooden crate, an antique wooden crate on my kitchen table so I could have a standing desk. They say that sitting is the new smoking. It's supposed to be just as bad as but I don't know. I think that I'm a little stiff because I sit a lot because I like to be active on social media. So I find myself sitting in a chair a lot. So I can't get as far down in my squats because I sit too much. So I'm trying, it's like a new thing. I'm trying this standing. And I'm standing, while I walk that far. I have a little bit of a different idea about fasting and early man. And I would love to talk about it, but I don't want to waste too much time if there's questions. But I
Aimee,
think there were
start-
so many animals
Go ahead.
available to eat.
You're never doing that.
What?
So I said you're never wasting our time. We love you.
Oh.
We love being here with
I
you.
think they tell stories about when the bison, when the buffalo were running across the whole earth shook, and they went on for like several minutes. Or if the passenger pigeons flew by, you couldn't even see the sun. There were so many available creatures to eat that I don't think people fasted. I think we had so much to eat, we hardly knew what to do about it. So I have a little bit of a difference of opinion about I do think fasting is good, but I don't think it's for the same reason. I think that spiritually, fasting has been done for thousands of years, and I don't know. I
Well,
still think.
have you ever hunted and killed a buffalo?
Well, no, I haven't, and there's not as many now, but there certainly were, a couple of thousand years ago, there were before this country was discovered by white people. There were a lot of buffalo here,
I
a
look at
lot of bison.
I look at lions and carnivores, and even omnivores like bears, and just try to get a sense. And you're right, there are less, but there were two less humans around. But the bulls and I mean, they are not easy to kill, and we're just doing it because we have. I mean, bows and arrows probably are not that old. And again, I just look at lions, the bulls, the buffalo, the wild buffalo. They're not easy to kill even for those guys. So it's just I just imagine, again, there's not a lot of plant to eat, and my bet is, again, whether we fasted months, but migration, we didn't have a lunch pail to carry around, and carry around enough seeds and nuts that you're going to survive. So again, we're thinking with our evolution of what we've developed over the last 300,000 years or more. But it is interesting. It's conversation. That's what this is all about. But 5 to 7 day fasting I do quarterly, and my blood sugar is 50. My energy's great. My insulin's down to nothing. And I really bet insulin's simply a digestive hormone for the liver to convert those things to fat and to make VLDL and ketones, which are critical for survival. Really, those are the survival stuff more than anything. Maybe. Let's see. Any other questions, Dr. Nelson, for Miss Aimee? Brisket Boomers.
There's a few in there.
Did you guys get them?
Pull a few up. Yep. Yep. Let me just. I had one up there. Let me just find it.
Aimee's hair is beautiful. That is true. Aimee has the best hair.
Carnivore.
That's carnivore.
There's one. And we have just a general one, and I'll pull the other one up for Aimee here in a minute. Let me.
How long does it take for food to be gone from the gut? Well, that's not my question.
We don't really know that. It depends on the gut issues and what you're eating, because plants take longer. Fatty meat, you almost never see it in the toilet. And so, it's to clear the gut is all depending on your gut dysbiosis and digestive issues and the damage caused by the plants, in my opinion. But,
right. And it's different for every person. Every person is going to have a different time of emptying their gut.
yes, but there's a range of similarities because we're humans, and physiologically and biochemically we're identical. But the damage that's been done based on your diet and predisposition, absolutely, that's true. But I would say in general, 5 to 7 days of no eating, 99% of it is in the colon or out the booty. Doctor, we can't hear you.
Oh, okay. Miss Laugh-A-Lot, who I know, and she says it, it's also a type 1 diabetic. Aimee, how do we find your diabetic coaching group? Is her question.
Yeah.
So I do have a website, but it doesn't really help you there. So if you have to message me on either Instagram or Facebook or on my YouTube channel. So my Instagram is Aimee Fields Perrin, AIMEEFIELDS PERRIN on Instagram and on Facebook, and you just message me, and then I will set you up, because it's We stick together with, well, we have a Zoom call once a week, and then we also have a text thread. So we can share different things with each other during the week, like podcasts or ideas or our meals, or, if we're having trouble with something, we can ask questions. And so you have like 24/7, I'm available to you 24/7, but you have to contact me in one of my social media, and then I'll set you up. And it's a monthly thing. So we're doing April right now, and then May will start the new month.
Aimee, what's your favorite meat?
Brisket.
Yeah. What's the purpose? Burns Aquatics. Maybe what's the purpose of headaches? And what
That's
causes headaches?
That's interesting because I had headaches my whole entire life. I spent days in bed with headaches. My kids knew that anything would set off a headache. If I read too much, if I tilted my neck too much, if I did push-ups, if I did sit-ups, I got headaches my whole entire life. They Even when I was keto, I had morning headaches that started at 2 o'clock in the morning and lasted until I got out of bed. So they were better on keto, but they were during the night. On carnivore, no headaches.
Here's the cause of headaches.
Yeah, the person I think is asking what's the purpose of headaches. I don't think they have a purpose, but
yeah, they do actually. The body's saying you're eating, breathing, drinking, ingesting in some way a toxin that is antigenic, inflammatory. That's it. Pain's purpose is to say back away from something. And the lion's looking over at the other one. The lion had a headache saying, "Why'd you eat the grass?"
Yeah, I totally agree because I don't have headaches ever on carnivore, but I did every other diet.
As a young child, I had severe migraines. I couldn't read. I had bowel problems, and I was incorrigible. And it was at 55 when I went carnivore. All my problems, well, not all my problems, because God gives me some good problems, but really the bowel problems, the migraine problems, the depression problems, the kidney problems, the bleeding in the bowels and the bladder went away because the plants are the predators and we're the prey. And that's why I think, when you read these books and you look at the United States Department of Agriculture's book on plant poisons. Next.
I have a question for you. Are you still incorrigible?
There's a question right here that I can see.
Yes. We go ahead and read it. It's for you.
Okay, it says Aimee, and people are spelling my name right. It's awesome. You said your sugar was 122 and you took insulin. Is 122 bad? Well, 122 is higher than you want your blood sugar to be. I feel my best when my blood sugars are in the 80s. We're talking milligrams per deciliter. So yes, 122, I took half a unit of insulin. But because I'm standing here a little nervous, it just went down to 119. But
and let's remember, Aimee is a type 1 diabetes, is a different animal than type 2, and she's trying to maintain good control. And half a unit, that's a very low.
Can I guess the question is, when you eat something or drink something, it's digested in the gut and then it's taken up into the hepatic portal system. So naturally and normally, you break down food into fats, sugars, and proteins, amino acids. Fats go to the lymphatics. Amino acids and sugars go to the liver. Insulin rises, it goes to the liver. And in the liver, the sugars and amino acids are converted to fat. So a rise in sugars is normal because you have to eat food. If there's no rise in sugar, normally there's no rise in insulin. And so your rise is from something, either a digestive process, more than likely, and then you're treating it with insulin because your body doesn't release insulin normally. Is that right? Aimee is a type 1?
Well, yes, except that right now my blood sugar went high because I'm nervous and cortisol is being released, and that will cause my blood sugar to go high
Yeah,
because it
stressful
causes
situations.
the liver to release glycogen. So that's why my blood sugar is high. And as soon as I calm down and this is over, my blood sugar will go back down.
Without insulin?
I've already taken it. Yeah. Yes.
No, without insulin. Will your blood sugar drop without insulin?
Well, yes, if I exercise, if I go out and walk, walking
can
helps,
type 1
exercise
diabetic
helps.
exercise their glucose to normal? Cannot.
No.
I look at, so glycosylation is the binding of sugars, including glucose, to proteins to make them functional. So when we move, the neurotransmitters require sugars to bind to the proteins to make them functionally neurotransmitters. And so the glycosylation pathway, nobody talks about either. And so I don't know. I'm just questioning. You know me, I'm incorrigible, right, Dr. Nelson?
I am too. So, that's what my wife says.
And Aimee is amazing. And I recommend, and we should put a link on Kiltz Mighty Tribe and drkiltz.com that people can get to Aimee's spot and get a chance to really dig deep into it, because the plants are causing type 1 diabetes.
All right. So it's 2 minutes to the top of the hour. Last question, Steve Rogers.
Go ahead, Aimee.
Well, I want to mention that there is a type 1 diabetic carnivore Facebook group, and there's also another group called Healing Type 1 Diabetes. And then if you're interested in the Bernstein diet, there's type 1 grit. So there's 3 different Facebook groups that I wanted to mention before any more questions, but I'd be happy to answer questions now.
My longest fast, Steve Rogers saying, has been 5 days. My muscles were sore for a day or so after. Is that an indication of muscle loss? I don't think so. It's an indication you may to increase when you're fasting. Your body functions continue. You're not having any food, and after several days, does it say how many days? You may to continue to have your salt. So having electrolytes, the sodium, potassium, magnesium, might relieve of symptoms. It does for me if I feel a little bit low energy. This morning before the live, I was feeling a little bit dizzy, so I went and had a pinch of salt, and I'm drinking some mineral water with some salt. Okay, we gotta do the
Mark Sapien.
Giveaway. You have. I'm sorry.
Mark Sapien has a question.
Go ahead and answer.
I'm confused with this resistance. The doctor says because I present with but my A1C and glucose numbers are all fine. How does that work? Let's see. So says I am insulin resistant. Is that the comment? Again, so insulin resistance is liver damage. And basically what happens as the liver is damaged, the ability of insulin convert dietary sugars and amino acids to fat is reduced. That means then your amino acids and sugars rise. They cause more glycation, which lowers your liver function. By doing a keto carnivore diet, 1 meal a day and fasting, now your insulin's going to be able to convert those things to fat faster in order to reduce the glycating ability of the amino acids and simple sugars. Aimee is amazing. Where's Aimee? Did we lose Aimee?
I don't
No,
know.
she's just hiding. There she is. The winner was or is Catherine. Email alia@drkiltz.com. Okay.
Catherine Siloff won that, right? I think that was it. Woo!
Yes, Catherine.
Aimee, are we going to see you at in Boston? When's the Boston event?
June 28th. I will be there in Boston.
Yep. Let's make sure Aimee's on the panel. Nate.
Okay, yep.
She's an invited guest on the panel. All right.
Perfect. Yep, absolutely.
No ticket required, Aimee. We want you there. Very
okay.
important.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yep. All right. Dr. Nelson, any other comments, questions, statements?
No. Thank you for being here. If you're not a member of the Kiltz Mighty Tribe, please go to drkiltz.com. Sign up. How much does it cost to sign up, Nate?
Last check, I think it was absolutely free.
All right. So it's free. Why won't you do it? Like, comment, share, subscribe. We want you at the community. And right now, and will forever, the initial basic level will be free.
And if anybody has any other questions about diabetes or insulin or anything, just find me on Instagram and DM me because I'll be happy to answer your questions there.
Aimee, really, really grateful to you for being here. We love your energy, your tenacity. Thank you.
Thank you. It's awesome.
Everyone, thank you for being here.
Okay, Aimee, great job. It was fantastic.
Sunday, I don't know what our Sunday live is going to be. We're not on tomorrow. We're going to be
You're gonna be driving and then doing podcasts on Sunday. I mean, and then we have the meetup.
We'll try to be on a little bit. I think we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll see. No promises.
If not, Monday 5 a.m.
All right. Bye, Kiltz Mighty Tribe. Bye, Instagram. Thank you for being here.
Have a good day.